You were looking forward to the visit for weeks. Maybe you planned what you'd bring. Maybe you thought about what you'd talk about, things you'd been saving up, small moments from your life you wanted to share. Maybe you just wanted to sit in the same room as your child for a few hours and feel like a family again. And then the visit happened. Nobody was unkind. Nobody raised their voice. On the surface, everything was fine. But on the drive home, somewhere between their neighborhood and yours, something settled in your chest, a quiet weight, a question you didn't quite know how to ask yourself. Did I even matter to them today? If that feeling is familiar to you, I want you to know something right now. You are not being oversensitive, you are not imagining things, and you are absolutely not alone. I'm a psychologist, and I've spent more than 40 years sitting with families, adult children, aging parents, couples navigating the shifting tides of late-life relationships. And one of the most common things I hear from people your age isn't anger. It isn't even sadness, exactly. It's that quiet, nameless discomfort of a visit that should have felt good and somehow didn't. Today, I want to help you see that feeling more clearly. I'm going to walk you through 7 behavioral signals, things your adult child may be doing, often without fully realizing it, that tell you beneath the surface that your visit may not have been as welcome as you hoped. And more importantly, for each one, I'm going to tell you what you can actually do about it. Because the goal here isn't to make you doubt your children. It's to give you clarity. And clarity, in my experience, is always the first step toward change. Let's begin. The first signal is what I call the compressed visit window. You reach out to arrange a visit, your child says yes, but the time slot they offer is oddly small. 2 hours on a Tuesday afternoon, a Sunday morning that wraps up by 11 because they have things to do, a holiday gathering that starts late and ends early with a schedule so tight there's barely room to sit down. Now, I want to be careful here because adult children are genuinely busy. Lives are full, work, their own children, commitments that pile up in ways that are very real. One compressed visit means very little, but when it becomes a pattern, when every visit is scheduled like a dentist appointment with a firm start and a firm end, that's a signal worth paying attention to. What's happening psychologically? This is what I call controlled exposure. Your child is managing their emotional experience of the visit by managing its duration. They're not necessarily doing this consciously. They may not even know they're doing it. But by keeping the window small, they keep the discomfort, whatever that discomfort is, manageable. So what do? Don't push for longer visits. That tends to backfire. It creates pressure, and pressure tends to shrink the window further. Instead, shift your focus to the quality of the time you have. Suggest an activity that naturally creates depth within a short window. A walk, a meal you cook together, something that generates conversation rather than just filling space. And over time, gently name what you're noticing, not as an accusation but as an expression of what you'd love. I've noticed our time together tends to go pretty quickly. I'd really love to find a way to have a longer visit sometime, no pressure. I just miss you. Soft, simple, true. And it opens a door without forcing anyone through it. The second signal is one that can be easy to miss at first because it actually looks like effort. Your child has planned the visit. There's an activity lined up, then lunch at a specific place, then maybe a stop somewhere, and then it's time to go. Every hour is accounted for. Every moment has somewhere to be. On the surface, this looks like they've put thought into your time together, and maybe they have. But here's what I've noticed in decades of practice. When every moment of a visit is pre-scheduled, there's no room for anything real to happen. Think about the conversations that have meant the most to you in your life. Did any of them happen on a schedule, or did they happen in the in-between moments, the quiet after dinner, the idle drive, the hour where nobody had anywhere to be? What I'm describing has a clinical name: interactional avoidance. Filling a visit with structured activity is a way of preventing the kind of open, unscripted conversation that might go somewhere uncomfortable. It's not always malicious. Often, it's simply a way of managing anxiety, keeping the visit moving so nobody has to sit too long in the silence between you. What do? You don't push back against the plan. That would feel like criticism and it would land badly. Instead, you name what you're missing warmly and without any edge. I love that you plan so much, but can we build in a little time to just sit and catch up? I feel like we never get to really talk. That's not a complaint. That's an invitation. And most adult children, when they hear it framed that way, will find a way to say yes. The third signal is, in my experience, one of the most quietly painful, precisely because it's so easy to dismiss. Your child is there. They're in the room. The visit is technically happening. But their eyes keep going to their phone. Their answers are half a beat behind what you said. They're moving through tasks while you talk. Unloading the dishwasher, sorting mail, looking at something over your shoulder. Eye contact is fleeting, engagement is surface level. They're present, but they're not with you. This is what psychologists call presence without attunement. And I want you to understand something important about why it hurts as much as it does. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish neatly between physical abandonment and emotional unavailability. When the person across from you isn't truly engaging, when their attention keeps sliding away, your brain registers something very close to rejection. Not because you're fragile, but because you're human. We are wired for connection, and we feel its absence in a very real, very physical way. The cruelty of this signal is that it's so deniable. Your child isn't doing anything wrong exactly. They're just not quite there. And if you name it, they may not even realize what you're talking about. So what do you do? Rather than pointing to what's missing, create conditions for what you want. Can we turn the TV off for a bit? I just want to actually catch up with you. Or, can we put the phones away while we eat? I feel like I never get uninterrupted time with you. Warm, specific, non-accusatory. If the distraction is a one-time thing, let it go. Everyone has hard days. But if it's a pattern, that's worth naming, not during the visit, but at a later, calmer moment. The visit itself is rarely the right time for that conversation. Over time, most parents of adult children develop a mental map of what they're allowed to talk about. You learn not to ask about their marriage because that gets shut down. You figured out that mentioning your health makes the conversation go strange. You know better than to bring up that one thing that happened years ago. Certain subjects you've learned have doors, and those doors are locked. I call this the topic firewall. Now, I want you to hold two possibilities at once here because they require very different responses. The first possibility, your child is protecting you. They don't want you to worry. They're managing something in their life that feels too heavy or too complicated to bring into your visits, and they're keeping it separate as an act of care, however misguided that may feel from your side. The second possibility, they're controlling what you're allowed to know about their life. They've drawn a boundary, sometimes a reasonable one, sometimes not, around their private world, and your visits exist on the outside of it. The distinction matters because the feeling from where you're standing can be identical either way. You run into the wall, either way it hurts. What do? Stop pushing on the locked doors. Every time you push, you reinforce the lock. Instead, build warmth and connection through whatever subjects are open. Trust that is built in the easy conversations sometimes, over time, quietly unlocks the harder ones. And if a specific topic is genuinely important to address, don't try to do it during a visit. A visit is high-pressure terrain. Write a letter. Make a phone call on a neutral day. Create the right conditions for the conversation rather than forcing it through a door that's been bolted shut. You know you're still talking mid-sentence, and you notice your child glance at the clock or shift in their seat or stand up and start moving toward the kitchen in a way that isn't quite an exit but isn't quite not one either. A yawn they try to suppress. A phone checked briefly then put down. An energy shift subtle but unmistakable that tells you the visit, in their mind, has already ended. The body is honest in a way that words often aren't. These are what behavioral researchers call disengagement cues. The body's way of preparing to close an interaction before the formal goodbye. And when they happen consistently, they carry a message. This visit has been effortful, and that effort is reaching its limit. I want to be gentle here because this one stings. It stings to be mid-sentence and feel someone already winding down. It stings to realize the ending was being managed before you'd even had enough time together. But here's what I want you to do with that sting. Use it wisely. Don't linger past the signal. The instinct is to hold on, to keep talking, to make the most of the time, but lingering past the signal almost always creates resentment. Your child begins to feel trapped, and that feeling colors the whole visit in their memory. Leave while the visit is still warm. Thank them genuinely. Say something simple and true about what you enjoyed, and then go. A shorter visit that ends well is worth 10 times more than a longer one that trails into awkwardness. And here's what I've seen over and over in my practice. Consistently good endings rebuild the appetite for time together. Your child begins to associate your visits with a feeling they actually want, rather than one they're relieved to escape. This one requires some delicacy because it's easy to look in the wrong direction. Here's what it looks like. Your child's partner seems to be running the visit. They're the one who set the schedule. They're the one who guides the conversation away from certain subjects. They're the one whose body language telegraphs when it's time to wrap up. And your child follows that signal quietly, without discussion. Your child, meanwhile, is somewhat absent from all of this. Deferential, busy with tasks, available but not quite present in the way you'd hoped. The temptation, and I understand it completely, is to focus on the partner, to see them as the obstacle, to wish your child would push back. But here's what 4 decades of family work has taught me. The issue is almost never the partner. The issue is an unresolved loyalty conflict in your child. Your child is caught between their relationship with you and their relationship with their spouse or partner. Rather than navigate that tension directly, which would require difficult conversations they may not know how to have, they've outsourced the management of it to the structure of their household. The partner sets the limits so your child doesn't have to. This is a form of what psychologists call triangulation. Using a third party to manage a 2-person dynamic that feels too loaded to handle directly. What do? Resist every instinct to focus on the partner. Do not complain about them. Do not attempt to go around them. Do not make your child choose. Instead, invest in your direct relationship with your child in spaces where the triangle doesn't exist. A one-on-one phone call, a short errand together, a letter that speaks to them personally without any reference to the dynamics of the household. You reduce triangulation by removing the triangle. And when your child feels safe enough, when the direct relationship feels sturdy enough to hold the weight, they often find their own way back. The visit ends, you drive home, and then nothing. No text that evening saying it was good to see you, no mention the next day of the things you talked about, no suggestion of when you might do it again. Just silence. That particular, loaded silence that follows a visit and tells you something the visit itself wouldn't say directly. I call this the post-visit silence, and it may be the most revealing signal of all. Here's the psychology. When a relationship is nourishing, when time together fills something rather than depleting it, people tend to reach out afterward. A quick message, a small reference to something you shared. It's a natural closing of a loop, a way of saying, that was good, and I'm glad it happened. When the silence comes instead, it usually means one of 2 things. Your child needed time to decompress after an interaction that cost them something emotionally, or, and this is harder to sit with, the visit didn't leave them wanting to reach back toward you. Either way, the silence is information. What do? You break it yourself, but lightly. Not with a question. Not with a need embedded in the message, just warmth. I really enjoyed seeing you today. The lunch was wonderful. That's it. No pressure, no ask, no when are we doing this again? Just a clean, warm, low-stakes close from your side. What you're doing is modeling what post-visit connection looks like. You're showing your child, gently over time, that reaching back doesn't have to be complicated or obligating. It can just be warm, and you're making it easy for them to respond because there's no weight attached to your message. Some children will respond in kind. Some won't, at least not at first. But the modeling matters, and your own sense of having closed the loop with grace matters too. I want to stop for a moment before I give you the practical guidance because I think this is important. If you've been recognizing your own family in what I've described today, if you've been nodding along quietly, placing your child's face next to these patterns, I want you to know that I see you, and I know how much it costs to look at this clearly. There is nothing easy about recognizing that visits with your child have become something they endure rather than something they seek. That kind of clarity can feel like a loss. But here is what I need you to hear. These signals are not a verdict on your worth as a parent. They are not proof that you failed or that your child doesn't love you or that the relationship is beyond repair. They are patterns, and patterns can change. In my experience, adult children who pull away from their parents are almost never doing it out of indifference. They're doing it out of things that are much more complicated. Unexpressed needs, unresolved dynamics from years ago, their own stress and overwhelm, and emotional limitations they may not even fully understand why they feel what they feel when you visit. Your job, and I say this as someone who has guided hundreds of parents through exactly this, is not to decode their behavior perfectly. Your job is to keep the door open on your side, wisely, patiently, with as much warmth as you can sustain. This stage of life, what the psychologist Erik Erikson described as the stage of generativity, is about legacy, about what we leave behind in the relationships that matter most to us. When those channels feel blocked, the loss is real. I'm not asking you to minimize it, but I am asking you to redirect that energy from grief about the closed door to intentional, thoughtful effort to keep it open. So let me leave you with 3 principles that tie all of this together. Not a list of rules, just guidance I've given to parents I've worked with that I've watched make a genuine difference over time. First, reduce the emotional stakes of each individual visit. When visits are infrequent, they carry enormous weight. Everyone becomes high stakes, loaded with hope, with need, with the pressure of all the time that's passed since the last one. And your child feels that weight. It can make them dread the visit before it even begins. Lighter, more frequent contact, even if it's just a 15-minute call, even if it's just a text exchange about something small, distributes that weight. It means that no single visit has to carry everything, and visits that carry less tend to feel more free. Second, invest in the relationship between visits. The visits are not the whole relationship. They are moments in it. And relationships are built or rebuilt in the small moments between the big ones. A card that arrives on no particular occasion, a voicemail that just says you were thinking of them, a text about something you saw that reminded you of a shared memory. These things seem small. They are not small. They are quietly the architecture of trust. If the only contact you have with your child is visits, then the visits have to hold everything, and that's too much for any 2 people to sustain. Spread the connection out. Let it live in the ordinary moments too. Third, name what you want, not what's wrong. This one is perhaps the most important. There is a version of this conversation that begins, "You always seem so distracted when I visit. I feel like you don't really want me there." That sentence may be entirely true, but it will almost always close a door rather than open one. There is another version that begins, "I'd love to find a time when we can really sit and talk. I feel like I miss you even when I'm with you." Same truth, completely different relational outcome. One is an accusation wearing the clothes of honesty. The other is a vulnerability, and vulnerabilities offered gently have a way of meeting each other. Speak toward what you want. Speak from what you feel, and leave room for your child to find their way toward you on a timeline you may not be able to control, but in a direction that you can continue to point. I want to come back to where we started. That wait on the drive home, that quiet question you didn't quite know how to ask. I want you to think of that feeling differently now. Not as evidence that something is broken beyond repair, not as proof that you are unwanted. Think of it as wisdom. Your nervous system, your heart, decades of experience attuned to the people you love most in the world. They picked up on something real, something worth paying attention to. You noticed, and noticing is where everything begins. The goal isn't a perfect relationship with your adult child. Perfection was never the point. The goal is an honest one. A relationship where both of you can be real, even imperfectly, even across distance, even through the awkwardness of dynamics that haven't yet found their resolution. And for that relationship to exist, for that door to stay open, someone has to choose to keep it open. Someone has to keep showing up with warmth, even when warmth isn't always returned. Someone has to believe that the connection is worth tending, that someone can be you. If any of what I've shared today felt familiar, if you recognized your own story somewhere in these 7 patterns, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me which one resonated most. Tell me what's worked for you or what hasn't. This community exists for exactly that, for people who are navigating these things in real time and who deserve to feel less alone in doing it. This is Wise Living, and thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.